Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed starring Denkia Patrick has some unused content and some notable region differences, as well as some other cool shit we are gonna talk about. And now that the game is more than 10 years old, let's give it some attention and a little bit of love. All information for this video was obtained through external sources that will be linked in the description. Spoiler warning for anyone who cares about being spoiled on a racing game for any reason. This is the full roster for all versions of the game. There were a lot of characters that didn't come back from the previous game. Those characters are Big the Cat, Opa Opa, Jackie and Akira from Virtua Fighter, the Choo Choos from Choo Choo Rocket, Zobio and Zobiko from House of the Dead, Billy Hatcher, the Bonsai Bros, Banjo and Kazooie, and sadly we would lose Ryo Hazuki driving a fucking forklift. Press L immediately in chat. More on Billy Hatcher as a character in Transformed. On the cutting room floor page for the game, it states that there is incomplete character data for Billy Hatcher, and they speculate he was supposed to be playable because of his complete absence in his racing stage, which is a fair assumption. They also state that his data isn't complete only because the devs couldn't come up with a good vehicle design for him, and I can't find any evidence to back up these claims about Billy Hatcher online other than the cutting room floor. Back to the cut content. There are static images for Ryo's arcade machine on his race car in the game's files, with an image for each of his corresponding vehicle forms, and animated versions of these images are used in the final game. One strange difference has to do with General Winter. On July 4th, 2013, free DLC would be released to the game in the form of a free character, General Winters, from Company Heroes 2. The problem was the red star on his tank, and the effect that happens when his vehicle transforms, which is straight up the Soviet hammer and sickle. I shouldn't need to say why these were probably removed, but apparently it was due to backlash from retailers in Russia, who had problems with the General because the game he was from was banned in their country. Other than that, I've heard from this video that the people on the Sonic Retro forum just thought the symbol's inclusion was in poor taste, with Sega agreeing and later removing the imagery only a month later. The regional differences are fairly easy to spot, I'll tell you what. The game actually has a different announcer for the Japanese version.
Sonic & All-Star Racing Transformed! Ocean Palace 挑戦するクラスを選ぶ B クラス Character Select Sonic.
I also want to add that you can fuck around with the English announcer in the volume settings. You'll start freaking out if you mess with the volume sliders. Just take a listen.
What? You're going the wrong way! Shame on you! Don't do this to me! This is my only job! No! Keep going! Higher! Congratulations! You've turned up the awesome! I'm loving the sound of my own voice! Keep going! Higher!
あれ逆じゃないひどいよやめてくれ聞こえなくなっちゃうのダメだってば
When playing as Ages in the US version, the Dreamcast logo on his boat form will be orange like it is in the console in the West. But on the European release of the game, the logo is blue to accurately depict what the European Dreamcast looked like. The logo is blue instead of orange because of this business named Triviola in Europe that had a similar logo to the Western Dreamcast logo, so they decided to just change it and to prevent any legal trouble. My favorite change has to be the Blowfish item, which went through a visual change in the West, originally being one of the gray garbage Puyos from the Puyo Puyo series, which I can only speculate was changed because the devs thought dumb kids from the US probably don't know what Puyo Puyo is. The last one isn't really a regional difference, it's another fact, and I just wanted to include it here for no other reason than I think it's a cool fact. And it might have translated differently between the different versions of the game. One of the items you can collect in the race is the Swarm, which creates large bee obstacles that will slow you down if you hit them. What's weird about them is that the item is referred to internally as Sky Tiger in the executable of the game. What's even better about this is that the announcer will sometimes call out Sky Tiger instead of Swarm.
Sky Tigers? Those are hornets! The fuck is a Sky Tiger?
The name was found to be an inside joke among the artists of the game, in which one of the artists refers to wasps as sky tigers, which is a little weird. And that's pretty much all the regional differences I could find. I didn't really dig very hard to find this info, and I'm sure if I don't answer something that you're curious about in this video, then someone else with far better know-how than me could answer it for you. Lastly, we can look at differences between the different versions of the game, which is actually sort of interesting. As a disclaimer, this game is playable on most 7th and early 8th gen consoles if that wasn't clear. The Wii U version can support up to 5 players on local multiplayer mode. 4 players would occupy the TV screen, with the 5th player using the Wii U gamepad. And playing like this would significantly reduce the FPS. The 3DS version is actually one of the more unique versions of the game. According to people behind Sonic Racing Transformed, the 3DS version was built from the ground up because the system wasn't able to handle just downscaling the whole game to accommodate its hardware. This version supported 3D gameplay, but with an understandably weaker roster. In every version of the game, characters are unlocked by playing the career mode and winning races in that mode, with the 3DS version lowering the number of stars needed to unlock certain characters. The career mode of the game allows for collecting coins during races like in Mario Kart 8, although these coins are used for a slot machine that's found in the career mode as well. The 3DS version excludes these coins and slot machines entirely because of it being built different. The 3DS port is also oddly listed as one of the only console releases to support mouse and keyboard, but I would guess that this is related to the touchscreen features. Not all versions of the game have the same roster, with the PS Vita, 3DS, and mobile ports lacking the most content. The Wii U and 3DS versions of the game have the exclusive Mii character, with the Xbox 360 version having the Xbox avatar characters, similar to having Mii's in Mario Kart Wii. The PC version by far got the most amount of exclusive content, which includes Team Fortress, Shogun from Total War Shogun 2, Wilhelmus from Rome 2 Total War, Football Manager from Football Manager, General Winter from Company of Heroes 2, Ryo Hazuki from the Shenmue series, and Yogscast Simon for some reason. On the DLC's Steam page, it states that the Yogscast group holds an annual charity drive in the month of December, and in 2013 they partnered with Sega to help support the special effect gaming related charity. I'm not sure what's become of Yogscast, but the special effect charity is still around and accepting donations. And with that, I've basically run out of things to talk about. I'm kind of shocked that the obscure content regarding this game has gone barely untalked about on YouTube, and it's kind of a shame that this great game is trapped on last-gen consoles. I mean, we can play it with the Xbox and forward compatibility, but that's just not it. We need a new version. And if we stand hard enough, we can eventually one day get Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed 2.